Finding the right budgeting method for you is like trying to find the perfect partner. Sometimes you have to go through a couple of trolls to find one that is just right. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about the best budgeting methods to help you to manage your money and to achieve your financial goals. Stick around to find out which one I use and which one has helped me to save thousands and thousands of dollars and to also prevent me from overspending. Also, before we get started, just FYI, none of this is financial advice. I have tried almost every single one of these budgeting methods. These are just my idea, and yeah. Let's get into it. Let's start with the first budgeting method, and this is called the envelope system. This method involves you dividing your cash into envelopes for different categories, such as groceries, entertainment, rent, or mortgage. The thing with this budgeting method is that you can only spend the amount that you have allotted in each envelope. So for example, if you took $200 out in cash and you put $200 into your groceries for the month, the week, the fortnight, whatever it is that you decide works well for you, that is the only amount of money that you can spend in that category. Same for fun. So if you put $100 into fun, you only have $100 of cash that you can spend on that particular category. This method involves using no credit cards, no debit cards, purely relying on cash. Now, some people that use this method, they obviously do have direct debits like their mortgage, their rent, maybe their gym membership, their Netflix, whatever it might be. So if you do decide that this is your kind of budgeting method, you do need to take into consideration the funds or the debits that come out of your account every month, and you do need to take those into consideration when choosing the amounts that you put in for each category. This method is great for someone who finds controlling their finances really quite difficult and has a tendency to overspend. So someone who has potentially got into a lot of credit card debt, or when they do have their debit card, just tends to tap away until all of their money is gone. I tried this method out myself and I actually found it really quite difficult, purely because in Australia, we are a very card nation, and a lot of companies or a lot of businesses don't tend to hold cash on their premises, or like when you go to a market or anywhere really. A lot of the time they really do only accept card. It can work in certain circumstances, like if you go to the movies or for grocery shopping. That actually works really, really well because all of those companies do accept cash. I did find that small businesses really didn't like accepting cash, and therefore I always ended up transferring money out of my savings onto my card just because it was mostly easier. However, if you are from the United States, or if you are from a country that using cash is maybe easier or more widely known or more widely used, then I think that this is a great method. Let's move on to the next one, which is the 50-30-20 rule. Now, this method involves you allocating 50% of your income towards necessities like rent, utilities, and groceries, 30% towards discretionary spending like fun, going out, shopping, entertainment, and then the remaining 20% putting it towards your savings and your debt repayments, or towards investing. This method I think is fantastic for someone who is on a salary, or for someone who knows exactly what is coming into their account every single week, fortnight, or month. Again, I have tried this in the past when I was full-time, and it actually worked really quite well. The only thing that I really struggled with was that putting 30% towards things like fun or just spending going out, entertainment was just far too much. And with this method, I actually found that I was spending more on wants rather than needs. Now, 50% is a hell of a lot of money towards things that we actually need, but 30%, that's still a hell of a lot of money. And I'm sure with this budgeting method that you can change the percentages depending on like your income or your circumstances. So you could certainly change it to 50% of your income goes towards savings, 30% goes to necessities, and then 20% goes towards savings and like retirement. I definitely do think that having a percentage or a certain amount of money going away each week, fortnight, or month, or whenever you get paid, going towards some sort of financial security, I think is super, super important. This I think would be perfect for someone who knows exactly how much they earn and that their salary or their income doesn't fluctuate. This budgeting method doesn't work well for me at this stage in my career because I'm a casual relief teacher. which means that I only get called whenever someone is sick or away. So I never know exactly how many days that I'm going to work. I certainly have a base income that I would like to achieve, but it's not necessarily always achievable. This next one I have personally never tried, and I only found out about it a couple of weeks ago, but this is called the reverse budgeting method. This method suggests that you start by setting your savings goal first and then allocate your income towards expenses and discretionary funding. This can help you to prioritize your financial goals and make sure you have enough for your future. So this one really does prioritize your retirement or future you rather than you now. I think that it's also really important that we do have a financial goal that we want to achieve and that we are putting away a certain amount of money every pay towards our savings. And I think that that's what this budgeting method really does prioritize. It prioritizes your savings, future you, and so then you have some sense of security. Again, this budgeting method is really great for someone who has a clear idea of how much they're earning and how much is coming into their bank account whenever they get paid. This, again, would not really work well for me just because, again, I don't know how much I'm going to be earning and I can't have a set amount of money that I want to put aside every single pay because it can vary between $800 a fortnight, anywhere from up to like $3,000 a fortnight. I just never know. However, if you are someone who has pretty low expenses, like you live at home or you're in a share house and your rent or your mortgage is quite low, this is something that could really, really work for you because most of your money would be going towards savings or an emergency fund or investment rather than just on random stuff like dining out or this like really cute top that you randomly saw at the shops. It's really getting you to think about not only what you want to achieve later in life, but what you want your future life to look like. So the last budgeting method is by far my favorite. It has helped me to stop overspending by so much. I am just so grateful that I eventually started doing this budgeting method and that I've been really sticking to it. For me, this one can be quite complicated. I actually find this one really, really enjoyable. Maybe it's my like obsession with money. I don't really know, but I find that this method is by far my favorite and works the absolute best for me. And that is the zero-based budgeting method. So with this method, you start by assigning every dollar you earn to a specific category or expense until you reach zero. So another way that I like to put it is that every single dollar that you earn has a job and you need to make sure that that money or that dollar is doing its job. The only thing with this though is that sometimes you really do need to plan ahead and you need to have an idea of what your expenses are every single month, fortnight, or year. This not only includes savings and investments, but also any other financial goals that you want to achieve. So when I get paid, whatever I get paid, whether it's $1,650, whether it's $3,000, by the end of my budgeting time, or like the time that I sit down and I split my income into different categories, I actually end up with $0 in one of my bank accounts. So I have one account that has all of my income that comes into it. So that is from YouTube, that is from collaborations, that is from private teaching, that is from teaching with an agency, that is from tutoring. Any sort of money that comes in or as an income comes into the one account. Then once all that money is in that account, I decide where each dollar is going to go. So I know that $750 of my money has to go towards mortgage, so that goes straight off to my mortgage account. I then know that I have an annual expense of around $1,000 for my car insurance, so then I'll split that up every fortnight because that's usually when I get paid, and that amount of money goes towards my car insurance. And I keep going for every single expense that I know is definitely coming up, and anything that I have left over goes usually towards savings. So I do not have one single dollar in my account that all of my income comes into. The reason why I love this budgeting method so much is that I'm not left with any money that does not have a purpose. Every single dollar has a purpose within my bank account. Whether that be $200 for fun, I know that that $200 is there for the fun, and I can use it as much or as little as I want. The only thing is though that I cannot go over it. So it's kind of a little bit like the cash envelope system, but digitally. Every fortnight, I actually put $110 away into fun, and that means that I can only spend that $110. I cannot spend over, but I can spend under. Anything that is left over just gets rolled over to the next fortnight. Or if I'm feeling really generous towards myself, I'll put it in towards savings. I do not like having a large sum of money or just like any sum of money sitting in my bank account, not having an idea what to do with it. I have done that in the past, and every single time I used to get paid, it would just sit there. So I would have like $2,000 or $1,000 that just sits in that bank account, and I feel like I'm rich. I feel like I can go out and spend all of that money and there will be absolutely no consequences. However, I feel like when I did that, I spent so much money on stuff that did not matter. That was a want and not a need. And then when it came time to actually needing to pay bills or to pay expenses that were necessities, I actually couldn't afford to pay for them. So by giving every dollar a purpose, by giving every dollar a job, I am no longer spending much more than what I need to, because I know that there are going to be consequences if I do that. I know that this sounds very, very dramatic and a little bit negative, but for me, I've actually found it really inspiring because I do not earn a lot of money as a casual teacher. I certainly earn maybe under $60,000 a year, which, you know, is not a lot in Australia. I am still able to save money. However, if I was just to leave it in my account, I would not be saving any money. I would just be spending it on makeup all the time, on clothes, on going out, whatever it might be. But by doing what I'm currently doing, I have saved so much money and so much stress because I can actually pay all of my bills on time. Each of these different budgeting methods certainly do have their own weaknesses and strengths, but it is really important that you choose one that fits well with you. So what works for me may not necessarily work well for you, because everyone's income, everyone's circumstance is going to be so different. And that is why I think you need to trial a couple of the different budgeting methods until you find one that is not only convenient for you, one that you understand, but one that you can also maintain too. Sometimes you can even combine a couple of the methods. So you could do the zero-based budget and the envelope system. So you could allocate yourself $200 a month for fun, and that is your cash. Like, that's the only thing that you can use. And then everything else in your account is zero-based budget, and it has a job and you're left with zero. So you can actually mix and match, delve into a couple of different ones. You really do just have to do whatever works well for you. Don't worry about what anybody else says. Just trial a couple, and I'm sure that once you've found the right one for you, you will feel so inspired, so motivated to keep going. I really do hope that you did enjoy today's video. Please make sure that you leave me a comment down below of which budgeting method you use. If I missed any, please feel free to inform the community about the one that you use or the one that you know about, and also one that works really well. Also, if you do have any budgeting tips, tricks, or just any ideas, make sure that you leave those down below as well, because this community is here to learn and inspire from each other. And I do hope that you either found something funny in this video or something entertaining, or that you actually learned something as well. All right, guys, I will see you in a video sometime in the very near future. Bye.